The morning of day 2 on the TELE TRACK, we packed up and headed across Cockatoo Creek. We definitely needed guidance on this creek. There were some big holes. We had to go left and then right and then left again. Tony was excellent at guiding us. He'd been here before, only last time it was with a motorbike. This next creek crossing was a tributary of McDonald Creek. After going through so many crystal clear water crossings, this one was a little disappointing with all the mud. But we didn't know it at the time, but we were in for a pleasant surprise once we got through. Right under our noses was a beautiful crystal clear billabong full of turtles. That is so clear.
Don't actually chase it away.
Wow, we're going to call this one Turtle Cove. Oh, he's off.
They're everywhere.
They must get fed. Surely they're used to it. Oh, look at them go.
No, the fish are eating the turtle.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, here comes old mate.
He's on the big fella.
Yeah.
I'm putting a piece of deal.
Oh man, they're hungry. Look at them. Oh, look at them.
They only get fed 45 times a day, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir.
You gotta stay with that.
We're creating a false economy for them. Sailor Creek. No problem with this one. It was nice and easy. Also, it was the last creek crossing on southern part of the TELE TRACK. Anticipation was building because we knew that soon we'd be at Fruit Bat Falls. Here we are at Fruit Bat Falls. Absolutely beautiful. After it's quite a warm day here, so looking forward to going for a swim. Fruit Bat Falls. Flowing north, Elliott Falls and Fruitbat Falls eventually make their way into the Jardine River. This is Elliott Falls. It's only probably a short distance from Fruitbat Falls. Very nice area here, absolutely beautiful. As you can see, there's easy to get down to access. There's some stairs over there, and there's toilet showers. Absolutely beautiful here. Look at it. Oh my goodness. And on a hot day, it is quite warm today. It's not super hot, but it's quite warm, and we're going to go for a swim. Let's jump in. At this point, Josh had suggested that we swim to the very base of the falls. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea. The current was strong and there was nowhere to touch bottom.
Woo! Middle of nowhere. Absolutely middle of nowhere.
I decided to follow him and just see how far we would get. As we got further upstream, the waterfall became more intense. It felt like being in a giant washing machine.
Yeah, a bit further.
Desperate to find a foothold for my feet, I looked under the water to see how deep it was. It was deep. There was no way we could put our feet down. To our surprise, nature had provided some handholds all the way along. It was tough going. The water was rushing past us, trying to pull us down. We really didn't know if it was going to be possible to actually make it all the way. But we were determined to get to our objective, right to the tip of the waterfall. At this point, trying to have a conversation with Josh was virtually impossible. The noise of the waterfall sounded like a freight train coming towards us. Josh got right to the tip of the waterfall before he lost grip and was swept away. Now it was my turn. I had to get there. I couldn't let him beat me. I made it. I found a little spot where the water was not as heavy. I was able to hang on until I decided to let go. I straight away realised after I let go that it may have been a big mistake. The water was so aerated, I didn't have any buoyancy. I struggled to keep afloat. I took a huge breath and went under so that I could get past the turbulent water. We made it back and I was happy to be in a safer area.
Hey, pretty good?
Now it was time to swim back to the calmer waters and find my wife Helen so we could have a swim together in this beautiful lagoon. I grabbed my goggles and snorkel and looked under the water. It was amazingly clear. And look at the structures. They were beautiful. Coming in, Nelly?
See the snake that's going on the step?
What? Snake?
Green snake, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm coming out under the step.
We've just come across another stream and it's hot water, apparently. Hot, like a spa. Just below Elliott Falls, we came across a small stream flowing into the main river. This little one's coming in into the main one, and it's probably 32 degrees. It's like, I felt like a big kid exploring and discovering new places. Now it was time for one more bomb dive to cool off before we headed back to the TELE TRACK. Canal Creek was about a 15 to 20 minute drive from Elliott Falls. It was amazing. The rock formations had developed many little spa pools. If there were 50 people camped there, they'd all have a spa for themselves. It had been a fun-filled day, so we decided to set up camp, make a fire and settle down for the night. Where we're camped overnight, right next to the TELE TRACK. Just packing up this morning, and the TELE TRACK is right there. Right there. Four drives have been going through there all morning. Up from a creek that we swam in yesterday, through there. There was no shortage of red dirt. It was everywhere, and the track became quite undulating in places. My wife Helen was amazed at how much the trailer tipped backwards and forwards, so she decided to grab her iPhone and video it for me. My good friend Josh came to a place where his 79 cruiser would be put to the test yet again. The track was so sketchy that all of his passengers got out. They didn't want to be in when he was driving up and over the obstacle. The problem Josh had was that there was a lot of heavy weight up on top of the car, which made the car unstable. As you'll go on to see, this wasn't the first time or the last time that Josh would lift a wheel on his 79 cruiser. If you look closely, you'll notice that Josh had two green grasshoppers painted on either side of the vehicle. Maybe that's why it was hopping all over the place. Unfortunately, this was the moment where Josh almost completely destroyed his clutch. Unbeknownst to him, the mechanics had put a smaller clutch in than he'd ordered, and it just wasn't up to the task. And to make things worse, Josh had failed to put his gearbox in low range. Having severely burnt out his clutch, it made it very difficult to select first gear, which hindered his progress further down the TELE TRACK. Out of the corner of my eye, I'm sure I saw the little green grasshopper coughing and spluttering with all the clutch smoke.
There's a nice little fall back there.
Got a different suspension to mine, totally different.
Yep. Going that way a bit. With Sam Creek done and dusted, and some serious damage done to clutches and this, that and the other, it was time to find that beautiful waterfall that Helen had found.
Oh yeah, good as this. Oh, they just get better and better, don't they? They're alright, just drop straight into that big stuff. Get going.
Abandoned, broken and busted cars along the sides of the TELE track was a constant reminder to be careful. We were a long way from home and we could end up just like that. Mistake Creek. The HEMA map says steep eroded entry, and it sure was that. The water level was reasonably deep, but the problem for me was if I was going to turn right with the trailer, I would have major problems. As you can see here, Josh had to reverse back and have a second go at it. I had to come up with a plan, and it had to be quick. These guys were in a hurry. They wanted to get to the top of Australia today. When Tony approached the water crossing, I noticed the old entryways that had been disused and overgrown. I thought, well, maybe I can turn left instead of right, back up into one of those and turn around successfully. As you can see from my diagram, everyone turned right, but it was virtually a dogleg, making it very difficult with the trailer. Plus, the water was quite deep there, allowing water to seep into my trailer every second. The only thing I could do was turn left, then back up into an old disused entryway, then successfully get the car and trailer back around to the right and through the water.
Hang on.
I still had to negotiate the decline, and with the trailer, it wasn't going to be easy, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's Marcus. Is it? Or not? Yeah, that's Marcus and Helen.
The whole plan went off without a hitch. It was a big success and we were able to continue on to the next crossing. Just down the road was Cannibal Creek, and wouldn't you know it, it was very similar, a very sharp turn right. I had to take another different angle again. Tony's passengers had put some clothing out to dry. Trouble is they forgot to bring it back in, didn't they? I think it'll be off to the laundromat with that one. After watching Josh and Tony traverse through the water crossing, I realised it was going to be too deep for too long for my trailer. I would get water damage in the trailer for sure, so I had to find another way. Right next to the long channel of water was a steep decline, and that's the one I decided to take. At this point I thought I'd made a big mistake. It was steep and rutted out, but as you'll see, it came alright in the end.
Going down. Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
My good friend Josh was very complimentary, but I got to be honest with you, I was just sliding down the hill with the brakes on. I put my foot down and got out of there as quick as I could so that no water would get into the trailer. Next up was the very famous Cypress Creek. The HEMA map says narrow and rough old log bridge. When we got there, we noticed a company of motorbikes making their way across the bridge and up the sand. Our other travelling companion, Tony, was green with envy when he saw the bikes, because many years ago Tony had ridden this TELE track with his very own bike. He had mentioned a few times to us that he'd love to do it again. Because of the incline and the soft sand, it made it hard for them to get through. I had to help one actually get up the hill. Once the track was clear, we were able to go down and assess the bridge to see if we could get over it. Well, here we are at the famous Pine Bridge. Everyone's a bit worried about this, it's a big build up. Yeah, here it is.
Started to go down there.
Someone going to guide you? Alright, I'll go over. You want to wait? Josh's Toyota was the heaviest out of all the cars, so he was our guinea pig. He went first. If the old Pine Bridge could take Josh's car, then no doubt ours would be safe to continue over as well. We could hear the bridge groaning and creaking under the stresses of over 4 tonne. Great, he's over successfully. Now Tony's turn. The Amarok, which was somewhat lighter than the Toyota, seemed to handle it really well. The old Pine Bridge hardly even creaked. Now it was my turn. Would it be as easy with a trailer? We were about to find out. And of all the creek crossings, this was the creek that needed the most guidance. One false move and you could go over the edge. We were completely reliant on the eyes of our helpers. Whoever had built the bridge did a very good job. As we drove over the straps though, it made me feel real nervous.
What about the trailer, right?
Yeah, good here on I'm good on this side. Keep going.
Right, turn now.
There we go, that's how it's done. Woo! We were getting close to the end of the old TELE track. All we had was Logan's Creek and Nolan's Brook. But as I was about to find out, Logan's Creek was going to be a major problem for my trailer.
Marcus! Straighten up!
Right, he's stuck.
So there I was, completely stuck. The trailer was hung up on the steep bank. But unbeknownst to me, I'd done some damage underneath. The pipes for the tap had been busted off and there was water leaking out of the tank. Another kind fellow traveller grabbed his shovel, and I did too. We dug like mad, but we didn't seem to be getting anywhere. I stuck the yellow plastic rams under the wheels, so if I got any forward motion at all, the trailer would lift up and free itself from the bank. Gonna have to winch it, we're stuck belly down on that ridge. We're digging it out, but it's taken a fair bit. It's a hot day too. It wasn't till later on that I realised I'd broken stuff underneath the trailer. The tank had a split in it and all the hoses were busted. After some duct tape repairs on some of the pipes, we soon realised that the trailer was doomed as far as water was concerned. We were not going to have any for the rest of the trip, although we did have a 20 litre drum that we could fill up with fresh water to keep us going. The famous Nolan's Brook was ahead of us, not far, so we just had to regroup, get it behind us and keep going. The HEMA map says Bridge Creek and in brackets Nolan's Brook. Bridge Creek Ford, caution, very deep clear creek with sandy bottom. Check depths. Nolan's Brook. Here we are. We've been dreading this all day. It's either going to be fun or bad.
Could be very bad.
Could be very bad. So anyway, we'll take all the precautions and see what we can do. But there's a heap of people around. Here we go, Nolan's Brook. Hopefully we won't damage the engine. Finally it was my turn. Here I was at the famous Nolan's Brook and I was about to dive in. There were plenty of other travellers at Nolan's Brook and they all seemed to be happy to help us out. This gentleman had a snatcher strap ready just in case I got stuck. At this point I was quite relieved. We got through unscathed and it was the last obstacle of the TELE TRACK. Now for a quick check under the bonnet to make sure everything's okay and not full of water. Well, that's Nolan's done and dusted. 2022. Help me through. After thanking everyone for their help, I had a look around. There were a few people camped here, and I can understand why, because there was some lovely shade, plenty of flat area, and some crystal clear streams nearby. I got so caught up with looking at all the memorabilia that people had put on trees after their camps here at the top end that I forgot about my wife, Helen. She was stuck on the other side of the creek. I had to go and find her. Rather than go through the deep water and get all her clothes wet, Helen had found a little bridge that someone had built. The only problem was, it was narrow, unstable, and she needed a hand across. Here darling, you need to put 1 foot there, 1 foot there, 1 foot there like that, okay? And yours? Good. One little bit at a time, darling.
Don't go so fast.
Oh, my feet are burning.
God, it's long.
All that was left to do on the TELE TRACK was a short distance up north, then backtrack over to the PDR and then over to the Jardine River ferry. Then it was all the way to the top. After getting a very good night's sleep at Loyalty Beach Caravan Park, this was the big day. We were heading up to the top. We were going to be there within hours. But first stop was the Crock tent. The Crock tent is where you buy your memorabilia. All your shirts and stubby coolers and stickers and anything to do with the top end and the Cape. A word of warning. It's easy to spend too much money here, believe me. But they are very nice people, very accommodating, and we wanted to buy some presents for our loved ones back home. That blue shirt there, I bought 2 of them. They're good quality, long sleeve, and keep the sun off. You're probably wondering why it's just a tent and not a proper shop. Well, I don't really know, but I think it's just how they roll in the top end. When we got to the checkout, I noticed some of these photos on the front of the counter. They were spectacular. Most of them are from the TELE TRACK, all the carnage that's happened over the years. I definitely could relate to some of these photos where I drove my car through the TELE TRACK. I couldn't help but think of all those people that have enjoyed driving the TELE TRACK, and there are probably many more to come over the next years.
My goodness, that's a big toad.
Thank you.
Alright, see you later.
Crock tent. You're not real. From Loyalty Beach to the Crock tent, we estimated about 14k, and from the Crock tent to the top end, 18k. The road was very good, a little bit narrow, but very smooth and quite jungly, at this being so close to the coast. We came around one last corner, and there we were. We found a park, put our shoes on, and proceeded to climb over the rocky outcrop to the tip of Australia. Being so close to the equator, and this was mid-September, so it was quite warm as well. It was nice to climb up on this rock because there was a strong breeze coming in, keeping us cool. We couldn't quite see the tip from here, but we knew it wasn't far, and anticipation was building. Here we are, right at the tip of Australia, Cape York. It's a sign to prove it, and yeah, it's a beautiful spot right here on the tip of Australia. Except for that island over there, that's the absolute tip. It's a beautiful day. Yeah.
Happy couple.
Yes.